Well, in that case, welcome to the April meeting of the Central Florida Computer Society. We do not have an actual speaker. We're going to use a round robin type. Let's share experiences. What projects have we been working on? What questions might we have? Similar to some of the question and answer periods of what Huey just did, but that's the plan for the day. And rather gray day here. That's been threatening a 60% chance of rain, 50–60% chance of rain in the Central Florida area, but it's not done it yet. But it's about 70 degrees and cool and slightly breezy, but that's about it. And I've had a couple of funny experiences with working with Mike Ungerman, who's I noticed that he did have some plans this afternoon and he's left us, but one of his friends ran into a situation with a zip drive, and it turns out Mike no longer had, it was a 3.5-inch floppy drive that he wanted to convert over to a CD-ROM. And Mike, in his array of equipment, no longer had 3.5-inch floppy drive working, and he asked if I could handle that for him. So I said sure, and I know I got plenty of 3.5-inch drives, and I have machines that will still run them, but I didn't actually have one in a machine. So I was able to locate a USB floppy drive and make a copy of the drive, get it to Huey, who got it to his friend. Everything was fine. But then that led his friend to say, okay, now I have a zip disk that I need read. And I never used those at all. Mike did to an extent, but no longer has anything running on it. But the same chap who had the external 3.5-inch floppy had an external zip, except he didn't have all the cables for it. So we spent quite a bit of time going around trying to find a working zip drive, and never did, but had a lot of fun trying. Well, nothing else is popping up in my mind right now. Who else has got anything interesting they would like to share?
Dan, one thing I'd like to say, what you were just talking about, is it kind of fits in with what I talked about earlier, that you can back up on certain media, but if you don't have the hardware, it doesn't do you any good. And so as new devices come out, you need to take that backup and move it or make a copy of it into some of the newer technology so that you're keeping up with it. And the fact that the different technologies, CDs and DVDs and tapes, all are the possibility of them degrading is great after a certain period of time as well. So even if you found the device to try to get the data might not be gettable.
My main computer that had a DVD drive in it was down, and I had some video discs, some movies that I wanted to rip. And I realized I had a Blu-ray disc sitting on the shelf in the closet, and a Blu-ray drive rather. And I used the adapter that I use for working with regular hard drives or your regular SATA adapter. And that worked just fine on the DVD drive. I just had to plug it in the USB and plug the other cord into power. And I was able to do what I needed to do, but I still don't have a drive mounted in a machine.
Yeah, and they don't do that anymore. I do have an old USB connected CD. I think it's a CD drive. I don't even think it's a DVD drive, but I keep it because I have tried it and I've made it work with my PC, and I can't remember if I ever made it work with my Chromebook or not. I don't think I did, but I have used it to read some old data discs that I had.
The one thing I've
And
been
you can still buy them at Best Buy and probably Amazon as well. USB connected drives if you have a lot of data on them and don't have a computer that has any kind of a CD or DVD drive.
Yeah, what am I looking at recently? Mine, the Lenovo only has 2 USB ports, and they have a portable DVD drive that you can buy now that would take up both those ports, but then it has additional ports to put in SD cards and plug in more stuff. And they got like 7 or 8 different places you can plug into that DVD drive. So it's basically the same as having a, what do they call it, that you buy separately to add ports to your machine.
Yeah, a
Only like
docking station
$30.
or port extender. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've got a docking that was, I think, about $75 when I bought it. And it's now, I just looked and it was over $200 now. The same model.
Paul Baker is now adding to the chat that they're concerned that CDs and DVDs might degrade over time. Similarly, storage media such as flash drives and external drives can also totally fail. He's had a couple of flash drives fail over the years without any forewarning, including store brands as well as popular brands. And that's not just the external hard drives. SSDs can go on you suddenly just as well. Those have a finite life as well. It's usually quite large, 1,000 reads, I think, but that's a possibility.
Our big questioners aren't here today. Paul, or not Paul, Stephen Hall's not here. And
Yeah.
so if anybody has some questions, Stan will be able to field them. Good time to ask any of those questions you need answered.
Well, one of the things that you may want to consider before you discard that old computer that you feel is obsolete because it won't run Windows 11 or Windows 10 or something like that. If you keep it, you might be keeping some capabilities that you no longer have. For instance, I recently inherited a laptop computer that would only run Windows 7. And on that laptop computer, they had Works. And I had encountered some people who had Works documents that they cannot read in Windows 10 or 11. So I was able to convert them using the old computer. And you may also want to use that same technique for reading your CDs and DVDs.
There are a lot of conversion websites out there, and I haven't looked for a while for Works because I haven't had anybody lately that have asked me. They had how to utilize some of those files. But while you're talking, Stan, I'll go out and look.
Okay, very good. I'm not aware of those. I haven't had the WKS files question come up in quite some time myself. And Stephanie, I see you raise your hand. Please go unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yes, I've lost the ability to get multiple screens on the computer at the same time. Can you remind me how to get there? mean, double clicking on that or right clicking on that, thing up in the upper right-hand corner just gives regular thing. It doesn't give me a choice of 2 or 3 or 6 things to parts of my screen.
Have you gone into setup and displays?
I'm sure it's in settings someplace, but I have no idea where.
Don't click on that box, hover over it.
Ah, okay.
That's the box next to the X, the top right that she's talking about for those. If you just hover over it, you'll have your choices.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting your hand down, Stephanie. Who else? Yeah, Joe Nowak, please go ahead.
Hi. I've just discovered in Night Cafe, I just discovered the collection process. And I've got gazillions of pictures that I've created and was looking for something just exactly like that. For those that aren't familiar with collections, it basically allows you to index your images. And then if you want to look at a crowd scene images that you've done, or you want to look at holiday images that you've done, it'll show you just those. But at any rate, like I say, I've got just tons and tons of images that I've created over the past several months. And what you do is you look at your images and then you say you want to add it to the collections, and you choose the collection or the indexing term that you want to use for it. And that's fine, but you're doing it one at a time. I believe there's a method where you can do multiples. In other words, you can pick all the images that you want of crowd scenes and then say, put all of these into the crowd index. Does anybody out there know how to do that? Nobody's been playing with it long enough to know how to do that. Do you understand the question that I'm asking? Let me ask that.
No, I think I got the question, but I've not been doing any experimenting with the actual.
Okay. All right. It was just, I just threw it out because I know it's brand new and not everybody's playing with it, but I'm just having a field day with it. So I was just curious if anybody had run across that yet.
Is collections, is that a Windows feature?
No, collections is part of the Night Cafe. And what you do is you go in and you can look at your images, and then you select each image, and a pull down menu appears, and you say you want to add it or remove it from a collection, and then you say add it, and you've created a bunch of indexes, if you will, and you say which index you want it in. So it's kind of almost like oh gosh, it's like Gmail when you set up the tabs or the labels or whatever they call them there. You're doing the same thing, except so far all I've been able to do is one at a time. But I believe there's a method of doing multiples, so that you can select a bunch of pictures and then add all of them to one particular index if you want to. But I haven't figured that one out yet, so I'm still working on it.
Have you?
Try
Have you-
holding your control button down and left clicking each image. It will probably select each one. You can move the whole batch into a folder and index.
It doesn't work quite like that, I don't believe. Have you tried that? I'll try it.
I have not.
at window right now. I'll give it a shot and see what happens. And let's see here. Okay, I'll just try and do a couple of them and see if I can get them. Now, what it does is it opens up the image. So that's not gonna do the job. Even if you hold the control key down, it just opens up the image on you. So that's not it. But I think anyhow, it was a thought. I think I had tried to realize that it wasn't going to work, but
Are you
that's
using
okay.
Windows? Are you using Windows Explorer?
I'm using no, this is not. It's not on the drive. I'm using it's on the browser.
Oh, okay.
It's on the browser, and all the stuff is stored out there. I could store it on my machine, but you know, it's on my system. So, at any rate, it's what happens, and so I've just got to live with it. That's okay. I'll work it out. I'll find some resource for it. There's always something. If all else fails, I'll go out and ask Bing Chat for it, and maybe Bing Chat will find the information for me. So we'll give that a shot. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Stephanie, you're muted still, but did you have another thought on what Joe was just talking about, or another question?
Yes. I do a lot of travel pictures, and they are organized in folders by each trip. I'm wondering, can you just take the whole folder and put it in travel, and then probably some of the individual parts also in additional places because they're birds or flowers or something else? And what software should we use for this?
Are you talking about in File Manager in Windows?
Yeah, I was never thought of putting them in the browser. I'm talking about they're in File Manager or some software that is basically Windows software.
Well, these are in the browser. It's not that I mean, I could copy them out of the browser, but the thing is, when you create them, they're kept at the Night Cafe site, and they're kept out there, so you have a full record of all your stuff out there. And
Stan, would you excuse me for just 1 minute?
Yeah.
Stan, give me co-host access.
Sure.
Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Okay.
well, the way their system works is when you create an image and you're finished with that image, it creates the image, and that image is then saved as part of your collection, if you will. And then you can, so if you go up to the top there, you can see where it says My Creations. And if you click on My Creations, which you have up there, and then put your pointer on one of the images, and then the 3 dots in the right corner of that, on the 3 dots, put it on the 3 dots where it says older male, blah, blah. Okay, click on that. And then it says add remove from collection. Okay, click on that. And oops, excuse me, I had you click the wrong one. Do a cancel. I'm sorry. Try that again. Clicked on the wrong thing. We want to do add remove from collection. Well, you don't have it. Why don't you have that? Let me see on mine. What do I got there? I've got, okay, yeah, collection. That's right. Yeah, add remove collection. Yeah, click on add remove collection. Okay, and you want to create a new collection. And then you give it a name. You can call it group picture. You can call it office work. You can call it whatever you feel that would be a good subject. Now this is going to be an index, so you're going to have a whole bunch of pictures in this indexed area.
And
Then
you click
on
add.
And now if you look at the upper left corner of that picture, you'll see a little file, a little blue box, and there's a number 1 in there, meaning that it's in
Yeah.
one indexed group. So now you could go in and you could just simply say that you want to go to look at your man on computer folder, and
Right
it'll
there,
show you all
and
of,
then
yeah,
add.
and it'll show you those, yeah. And it would show you the folders that have
Yeah,
all the pictures from that folder, in other words. So,
yeah, there's 2 now in that one,
yeah,
and only 1 showing there.
and then you can go to look at your, you click on My Collections, I think, and, okay, My Collections, and then you click on that, and click on the man on computer, and it shows you just those pictures. So if you've got hundreds and hundreds of pictures, but you break them up into these indexed areas, and you're looking for a picture of your family, a family member or niece or nephew or godchild or whatever, and you have lots of pictures of them, they can have their very own folder there, or very own spot on the index. And then you just look at all of those, so you don't have to go through the hundreds of images that you already have, trying to find that one image that you had created that you want to use now for some purpose.
Yeah, no, these are all AI created pictures. They're not pictures you have taken with your
No.
camera.
No, they're all AI.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm saying that for the other people to understand
Okay,
what we're
sure.
talking about, because they were talking about, well, taking some pictures that you have in your hard drive. That's not what this would be. These are items that you have created using artificial intelligence.
Yeah. You got some really
And
nice ones there.
Yeah, I've played around it a little bit. I
Yeah.
tried it. I did something on plugs and so on, and I tried to get some. I couldn't get any, and it does a terrible job with letters.
Letters,
and-
it's
and
awful. Yeah.
Letters and hands.
Oh, yeah. It's getting better
Yeah,
at the end. It's getting better. My favorite is when it puts a left hand on a right arm.
Let me show you a website that you may not have tried, and I think you will find interesting. Let me go here, and it's called Catbird.
Huh.
Are you familiar with it?
No, I'm not. Catbird.
Okay, and what you
Catbird dot what? Catbird.ai.
Catbird.ai,
Okay.
and then you can take anything. Let's see, I might have something here. Whoops. Right here, I think I might have something already that I can. Well, let's just say older man using this has been my test one, computer, and then tell it to run. And it will go to Open Journey and find some 4 pictures. It'll go to Deliberate.
Oh, wow.
It goes to every one of them. Stable Diffusion, Dreamlike, and then hit 6 more, and there's no cost to it. And then you can pick whatever you want to do, whatever you
Now,
want to do with it.
does it go to Night Cafe, or does it do it as Stable Diffusion, or does it do it as Night Cafe? And does it
it
do
looks-
Dolly?
I'm just showing the ones that it's doing right here. So
Okay.
those are the ones.
Catbird.ai. I love it. I love it. Wonderful.
And then you'll see that you can download any of the pictures.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. That's really good. Now now you get a Catbird account so that it knows to go to your materials, or
No, you don't save it. It goes away.
okay. Okay.
If you don't save them, they're gone.
Okay, but how does it know that these are your images?
They don't.
Oh, it just finds them out on the net somewhere?
No, it creates them on each one of these services.
Oh. Oh my goodness, I'm in trouble. Oh no, no, no. Oh
As I
wow.
say, I've been wasting a lot of time, should I say, or
Yes.
I'm learning a lot
Yes,
by
there you
playing
go.
with a
That's
lot
the
of
thing.
these
Yes, yes.
things.
I was gonna say, it
Creative,
looks like there's some serious fritter time there.
creative
yeah.
exploration. Yes. Oh
But
God.
but it does show the power of AI and
Yeah.
all these different things that are out
Yeah.
there that are quite costly, that you can experiment with them and try them and play with them and come up and finding the right prompts is the key to it with this. And there's starting to be some ways to do that, to get prompts and find them.
One thing I might mention, if there's anybody out there using Night Cafe, they have a Facebook group.
Yeah, I'm on that too.
And,
Yeah.
and it's run. And some of the artists that post their stuff out there are very, very friendly at posting their prompts. I've learned so many things from just going through and looking at those things. And then I say, gee, that's neat. And it turns out that that particular artist has put his or her prompt up there so that you can see how they made that picture. And then I go back and I try it and I say, gee, that didn't come out quite right. Well, it turns out they've done lots of editing, post editing to it. But it's really
Well, that and every time you run one of those, it's going to be different. You're going to come up with different results.
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes it comes up way different than
Yeah.
you would expect. But sometimes it comes out just gorgeous, and you've learned things. You've learned something. You've learned that if you use double exposure, that means one thing. If you use this, you get another effect, and you learn a lot of stuff because there's not a lot written on it yet, and so it's all still in the experimental stages. So it's just really great. So
It sounds like you look at this like I do. It's exciting.
yes.
Playing with
fantastic.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree.
I'll
And
get
I
an
know some
idea
of
and
you
I'll
were
say, "Gee,
scratching
I
your
wonder if I
heads.
can do that," and join and the competitions that they have every day are the challenges. Have you ever done any of those?
No, I haven't. I
Oh
just
gosh, yeah. Like today's challenge is to come up with a coloring book. Do you realize how difficult it is to get it to not use color in an image and still have coloring book stuff? But at any rate, that's another story. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Huey. I appreciate the catbird. That's wonderful.
yeah. And
That's wonderful.
I'm finding all kinds of stuff. There's about 4 newsletters that I have that I get 5 days a week. And almost every day they'll have a list of probably 15 or 20 different new places that are using AI, and you can go out and you can take a look at them. Sometimes you don't have any credits, you got to pay for it right away. Some you get you can check out, but all of a sudden, every time I go to one, I've got to create a username and a password and then add it to my password manager before I can do anything. And so I've stopped doing as many as I was doing.
One, as long as you're familiar with it, you're familiar with Lexica, right?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not? Okay. Because I was wondering, because when I first heard of it, it said that it was good for 100 images a month for free, and then you have to pay for them. But I went through and I created 100 images, and it said now you got to go on a pay system. So I don't know whether that means I went through them for the month or not, because I just started this month, So
They'll usually tell you, and when you look at the pricing and you see
yeah,
the zero pricing, it'll say 100. It'll say 100 pictures, or it'll say 100 pictures per month. If it doesn't say per month, that means total.
yeah. No, this is This one is, the pricing starts it's pretty reasonable. It's 1,000 images a month. And it's really low cost. I think it's like $8 or something like that for 1,000 images. But it always
but-
gives you 4. You don't have a choice like you do in Night Cafe.
Yeah.
It's 4 images, but boy, does it do a great job with prompts. Great.
But as you try some of these, they all look good. And well, this one's $8 a month. This one's $10 a
Yeah,
month. All
that's
all
the
of a sudden, you got
problem.
a lot of money, and you don't know
Yeah.
how, which ones of these are going to be successful and which aren't.
It's just like streaming. You got $5 here, $10 there, $12
Yeah.
there. Suddenly,
Yeah, but they stick around a little bit longer than I
Well,
think
yeah.
some of these companies got a lot of money up front
Yeah.
from investors, but
yeah,
it doesn't mean they're going to make it.
yeah,
They'll either get swallowed up or they'll end up closing up.
yep. Yep. Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was great.
And for the rest of you, it's something to play around with. This AI stuff is just, I think, is fascinating. It's very powerful. There's a lot that you can do with it. And there's a lot we don't know what we can do with it. And we're learning. And you got to remember that all this happened when OpenAI released ChatGPT in November of 2022. In other words, just a few months ago. This is all brand new. And so this is a good time to get in on it and try to understand it, because as it changes, it's like the computer was when a lot of us, we got in on the ground floor. So it's second nature to some of us. Others, we had to learn how to use a mouse.
Okay, there was one other person who brought up some questions in the chat, and that was Paul. I'm not not sure how to pronounce your name, Paul. Sorry, Baker, regarding Windows 7 on a Dell laptop that he's been trying to upgrade to Windows 10. He was able to do that to an extent, but now can't get it to 22H2. And I think that the suggestion that Clark Walker made about making sure you have free space on your C drive is a good one. He said that he found that updates don't work and they don't give you the message that you don't have enough space. Well, that would certainly be one thing you would look for. But the other thing I would suggest is to take that model number and see if you can run it against Google and see if it is actually upgradable to the 22H2. That might help solve answer your question. And do we have other questions or other things?
You got two hands up.
Joe, Steve, let's take you first. You haven't said anything yet. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, we wanted to ask Huey, how does it create the faces? Does it cobble together bits of different pictures of people, or does
Yep. It just goes out and gets information that's out there and puts it all together artificially.
does it use a variable in the different?
It uses Open GPT or OpenAI, I'm sorry, or other ways, but that's the whole idea of artificial intelligence. It's
so
doing
when-
it
when
artificially.
when it's got a face that it's created, is it likely to be virtually the same as somebody's real face?
No, and every time if you do the same prompt, each time's going to be a different face.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Joe, what's your question regarding? Please unmute.
I think he just didn't put his hand down. There you go. Dan, have you played with any of the AI stuff at all?
You, too many other things going on. No, I have not.
Well, each one is a different program and you got to learn how to use it. And like I say, sign up for it. But there's also a lot of other programs that are adding AI to them. So you're relearning a lot of things. I'm anxious to see what Adobe does with it. I know they're planning on adding AI to all of their programs. And of course, Microsoft is going to, they're calling it Copilot. It's going to be interesting in how they do it, whether they charge extra, whether it's an add-on that they charge for, or each one's going to be a little bit different because using the AI is quite expensive because it's using a lot of information that it has to go out and get, and it's using a lot of computer power to do that. And but everything, one of the articles that I read this week, I think I talked about it somewhere along in the last couple of days to somebody, about how many jobs are going to be done away with because of AI. And it talks about what some of the top jobs are. And a lot of it's writing things. A lot of writers are really concerned about it and how they're going to use it. And there's a lot of other people in editing that have to go through and edit things to make sure that it's done right. AI can do all of that all very quickly and easily, and not have to hire that expensive editor. So we're going to see a lot of issues with that, and a lot of fallout from people, and then a lot of improvements of the automated stuff on it.
There was an article concerning the writers. I can't remember the group, but
the Writers Guild. I did an article for the Tech for Senior newsletter on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they said that they don't mind them using, the writers group doesn't mind them using that as long as the writer, the real writer, gets the credit for the machine, for the script, because they're the ones that came up with the idea, and the AI just came up with the quick dialogue or quick information on it, and it was revised and edited by the author.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed YouTube is using AI now. Is there anyone here, raise your hand, that's noticed that or seen what you can do with it? Oh, this is going to blow your mind. I may have to cut this out. We may not be able to do this online or on the recording, and we may not want to do this on a recording anyway, but let me go ahead and screen share and do this and do a share. And then I want to go to YouTube. I'm on YouTube. And we'll go to my channel. I've done this for a couple of recent ones, so let's go to, let's see. Yeah, let's do this one here. Okay, I'm not going to play it. I'll stop it. But notice up here, GPT for YouTube. Ask ChatGPT to summarize. When I click that, it actually goes to the video and gives me a summary. And then I could tell it, give me a transcript.
Now that's only for those that have transcripts. And
no, it creates them. It creates them.
It creates a transcript for it?
Yep, and also the summary.
I thought it was only for those that allowed the transcript,
I don't know if I don't know if there's a way to stop it. I have not
allowed the CC.
seen that,
Yeah,
but you can pretty much
because some
you can
sites
play
don't
around
want
with it and go to different, but the summary is really neat. And then there's
Yeah.
also a website out there. I think it's a website or it's an add-on. I can't remember what it is, but you can tell it and it will actually make the video into chapters. So I did it on, let me go to, whoops. Let me go to, let's see, I want to go here. Go back to your channel. And then go to, these are all the subscriptions that I have. Looking for the CFCS channel. If I pass it, let me know. There it is. No, that's APCUG. Oh, come on. These are all, there it is. Okay, I think it was last month's WinSig March. Let me go to that. I'll stop it from playing. We don't need to list to me. And then under show more, what I was able to do with the software is divide it into chapters, and it talks about every article and shows what time to go to that article. And there's software, AI software that did that for me. And so I could go to using changing views and icons in Windows Explorer. If I click that, it takes me right to that, play around with those settings there. And you can also change the icons in Explorer. And that's easy to do. But I think there's a limit to how many you can do in a month. I think it's only 4 or 5. And so I can't go back and do a lot of them, but I'll probably do it for for my WinSig today and have it divide so you can see all of the topics and the time so you can go right to that time. Isn't that neat? So besides the fact that I've got the transcript here, I can also tell it to summarize it. And there's my summary.
That is very interesting.
Oh, yeah, so you can see where somebody's job could be to go in and do these kind of things, do a summary of items, videos and so on. Now it all automated within minutes.
Huey?
The chat
Yes.
GPT show up on your page because you're logged into your page? Because if I went to your page and tried to see that, I didn't see that thing to click.
Yeah, you have, it'll ask you if you're not logged into your chat, your Bing or your chat GPT. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's the chat GPT. It'll ask you for you to log in. You log into it. It doesn't use anything from that page, but
So you have to have a chat GPT account.
yeah, but it's a free account's fine.
Huey?
Yes.
You know, like a meeting like this, if we go in and we get the transcript, because you can do that if you have closed captioning on during the program. If we get that transcript, is there some program that will take out the timestamps and leave and put the information back in a reasonable fashion, but keep the names of the speakers in there?
No, in fact, it doesn't put the names of the speakers. It'll say speaker 1, speaker 2. Are you aware that you can do that with Word, with a Word document? You can take an audio file and put it into Word and have it create a transcript.
Oh,
and it'll say speaker 1, speaker 2, and you can say, okay, change speaker 1 to Stan Wallner.
Yeah.
And then it'll say, do you want all speaker 1s to be changed? And so it'll put Stan's name there, and you can do it that way as well.
With the closed caption transcript that you get from Zoom, it does have the name of the speaker.
Oh, it does?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
Yeah, because you're signed in and you have some kind of a name.
Yeah.
It'll be whatever name you're
Yeah.
signed in as. Yeah.
The thing is that what it does is if you say get rid of the timestamps, it gets rid of the timestamps and the name of the speaker, because the speaker is associated with the timestamp.
Yeah.
And so I was just wondering if there's something that will handle that. I know there's a site that'll take out the timestamps and give you the information back in a reasonably grammatical fashion, you know, proper
Yeah.
punctuation, capitalization, etc. But trying to keep the names of the speakers is difficult. Haven't found that yet. Okay.
Try using Chat GPT or the Bing version of it, which
I
is
did.
free.
It said,
And
I'm not here to do that, or something. It said something really snotty, but it wouldn't do that. And it only
and you asked it to take out the time but leave the name.
yeah, and it says, you know, there are sites that'll take out the timestamp for you, and it gave me the site that did that, and it said that.
Well, at least it
basically-
told you where to go to
Yeah,
do it.
and it didn't say that I could go to somewhere else either, so it was okay. But at any rate, okay. Well, I'll keep looking for that, and if you hear of anything, keep us all abreast. Thank you.
Yeah, and those of you who aren't using the Bing chat and asking it to do things for you, try it, play with it. It's just amazing. I took an article from the web and said, redo this. And it redid it. And then I said, give me 5 possible titles for it. And it gave me 5 titles. And I picked the best one. And there I got an article. So
On the
it's
genealogy side, I had it write a paragraph of the history of a county where some of my ancestors came from. It did a real good job.
yeah, it's amazing. You gotta watch it and be careful that, because it does make stuff up sometimes. But so you got to double check anything it tells you that might not be true. But yeah, there's and I'm trying to do all this stuff while I'm learning new things. I'm taking a class on Canva, which now has a big thing about AI included in it, and I haven't even got to try that yet. And but I paid for a course, and I'm trying to learn how to use Canva. And then now Microsoft's come out with their designer program. And by the way, I've got some not licenses, but some invites that if anyone wants to try it, the Microsoft designer that works something like Canva. It's a graphics program, building program. Let me know and I'll send you the invite. But there's they're all coming out with all kinds of programs that are utilizing AI, and it's just amazing. So I'm playing with all this stuff, and it's a bit time consuming, to say the least. But what else do I have to do? I'm retired. And then I try to learn it all, and then spit it back out to you guys, which helps reinforce it for me. Any comments or questions? I got a few more minutes before I've got to go, but anyone have questions about what this is all about, or are you totally confused? And let me know, let us know that too.
Where's a good place to learn what's available?
There's a couple of there's 3 or 4 newsletters that are out there, and off the top of my head, I can't name them, and I have to spend some time to go find them. But there's some newsletters that come out every day with all the new stuff that's and updates and what they're doing out there.
Well, I guess we could just Google that ourselves and see what we can find.
Yeah.
Look for free ones first, anyway.
Well, don't Google, Bing it.
Thing, okay. Well, if you're heading out, I think we're dry. So at this point, I'm going to suggest we call it an afternoon. I want to thank everyone for coming and appreciate you attending, and we'll see you next time.